Running your own real estate investment business can be stressful, time-consuming, and difficult to manage. Where do you start? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we have the answer? With our exclusive training program, we will teach you how to free up your time to build your business, develop your goals, learning where to find the money, how to find better deals, keeping track of offers, building a team, and developing a business plan that works for you. We at Real Impact Real Estate Training and Mentoring have all the answers for you. We have several plans to help you get your business to the next level. We have developed the best one-on-one personal training system in the industry. We have a proven structure that has been developed for more than 50 years through the purchase and sales of thousands of homes and commercial properties. We will help you set up and build your real estate investment business. Whether you are new to investing or you are a seasoned professional, we have a plan for you to customize your business to a method that works, is affordable, and fits your budget. With training modules like finding money, finding deals, learning how to get correct comps, building a team, short sales, subject twos, foreclosures, making multiple offers, understanding auctions, REOs, and tax sales, working to build your construction team, and finding sellers and buyers. Find your property management team, plus over 70 additional training modules to choose from. Sit down with us for a one-on-one consulting to see what training plan is best to develop your goals and to build your business by using the 5 M's of investing: mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and management. Wouldn't your life be great if you can live it on your own terms? We help you develop and structure your business to take massive action. Join the Real Impact Real Estate Training today. Change your life today with real estate investing.
Hey there, everybody. Roger Pascal, Real Impact Training here. We have a phenomenal call tonight that we're ready to bring to you. But real quick, let me tell you who we are and what we do here. So we are a real estate investing company. We give lots of free information. We have 12 locations throughout Texas and Oklahoma, and we're your local source for any of your real estate investing. So with our locations, we offer you one live meeting a month on average. Sometimes we'll have more than that. We have networking. We might have a breakfast. We may have another event of some type. But we're here to make sure that you're getting the local information on your local market with your local team members to help you build your business. We're not going to, we don't want you to go out and think that all of your training needs to come from out of the area where you live, because it's not going to work for you. You're not going to have that connections with them, or it's going to be a lot harder for you to build your business, should I say. So we're here to give you as much information as we can as we go along. So if you're looking to find out where we're at, how to find us, if you're on any of our platforms, but YouTube, for instance, you go down there and there's a link to each of our locations. You can also go into our website, which is realimpacttraining.com, and you can click on the locations tab there. You can click on the events tab so we have some information there for you to pull up and find on that. So one of our primary objectives on each of our Sunday night calls is to provide you with the opportunity to ask questions about real estate investing. So to do that, if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, and then a chat box will open up and you can ask your questions by chat. If you're on Facebook, just ask your questions. They will come to us and we will get you the questions answered. We'd like you to keep them limited to what our topics are for this week. So our subject tonight is how to find great deals. Okay. And there are great deals out there absolutely everywhere, but you've got to know how to look for them. You've got to know how to find them. So with that said, we've got several of us that are here on the call tonight. So let's throw everybody up on the screen right quick and let's get everybody rolling. All right. Karen Maxwell Impact Plano, North Dallas area, that whole area up through there is Impact, is Karen Maxwell. She is also in our corporate sales. So if you're interested about having your own coaching location, then you can reach out to Karen and ask her those questions. Then on the bottom left down there, we have Eric Short. And Eric Short is Impact Grand Prairie, South Dallas area. And he's one of our newest guys out here. So, but we've known Eric for many, many decades now. So he's been around. He does a lot of investing. And then we have Tim Lockhart in the bottom center down there. Tim Lockhart is Impact Wichita Falls and Impact Denton, Texas. And so reach out if you're in those areas there, Tim. And then on the right-hand side, we have Renee Toon, and her husband underneath her is Doug Toon, and they are Impact Longview. They actually have a meeting tomorrow night. So if you're in the Longview area, you want to look them up because I understand they have a phenomenal speaker tomorrow night. So,
yeah.
Who's the speaker tomorrow night?
Somebody probably heard it.
That's right. So, yeah, it's Stump Karen night is what we've got here. So, well, good deal. I'm excited that everybody's on here tonight. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's doing well. So, Karen, I'm going to have you kick this thing off. So, we're going to be talking about goals tonight, right?
Yo, goals.
Great deals. I'm sorry. Great deal.
Are you trying to stump me again, Roger?
That's right.
I do want to start off by saying I myself have had a couple of issues with YouTube and getting the chat box to open. I'm not sure. CJ and I have been working on it. We have not been able to figure out why sometimes I can't see the chat. If you have any trouble tonight seeing the chat and being able to ask your questions, if you can't see the chat, text me at 903-445-6023. Thank you so much, CJ. Look at you. 903-445-6023, and I will try to keep an eye on my phone, but my phone is on silent, so be patient with me if you have any trouble and you have a question that you want answered. So, with that said, I'm going to kick it off tonight. Thank y'all so much for filling in for me for the last couple of weeks. I haven't been able to be on. We've had baseball and soccer and the races and all kinds of stuff going on in my life, so I took the last 2 weeks off. So the question that I'm answering tonight is, why would you want to mail or call people that have an LLC or like an entity that owns the property? I know back in the day we used to take those off. We used to exclude those when we were doing our mailings. And what we found was oftentimes those are people that own more than one property. So they might be, number one, a landlord. They could be a tired landlord. They could be a landlord that's successful that has that one problem property that they want to get rid of and they're willing to sell at a discount. Or it could be someone that bought a property and they haven't gotten around to do anything with it yet. So they would consider selling that property. So when I'm doing my marketing, I never say specifically, this is the property. Do you want to sell it? I say the property that I was, if they ask what property, I will tell them, well, the property that I was calling about is 123 Main Street, but I really would be interested in buying any property that you would be willing to sell at a discount. So that's just my little tip on not excluding people, because you don't know that they're not motivated, that they don't have another property that they want to sell. So you're kind of limiting yourself. And there you go. That's my tip of the night. Okay, so we're going to switch over to Douglas. Doug, where are the main places that you like to find deals?
I prefer to talk to the seller. A lot of people will go out on the MLS or look at FSBOs, and that's fine. They're just not real motivated. I like driving and finding properties that are vacant, calling the owners. Doesn't always work, of course, as you know. You can always find them, but sometimes you can. Why wouldn't you try? Tax sales, I've had good luck with tax sales, but they've gotten pretty expensive here lately. And what I've started to do is, instead of trying to buy them at the tax sale. I'm going to try to buy them beforehand. So I've got to go out and knock those doors and find out what's going on and see if I can help them. So I try to help them in any way that I can. Even if I don't get the deal, I'm going to try to help them. And that's what we do. We're just trying to solve their problems. So, and one of my favorite ways is just to have somebody come up and tell me that they want me to buy their house, which the way you do that is you just let everybody know what you're doing. So if nobody knows that you're a real estate investor, that's a big mistake. You need to talk to people. Everything that we do has to do with talking to people. So that's what I like to do.
I agree. You have to talk to people. Ruben, hi. This isn't something that you can join us on screen, but you can join in the chat just like you've already done. You can ask your questions there, and we will answer them. This Sunday night call is not for anyone else to be on the screen. We have a limited number of people that we can put on the screen, and so if that's what you're trying to do, that's why you're not able to get on the screen with us. So sorry about that, but we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, thank you so much, Doug. We're going to switch over to Tim Lockhart. Tim's in our Wichita Falls and Denton locations. Tim, you're a realtor. So tell us how, as a realtor, why you would be motivated to work with an investor and how to identify that a realtor is actually someone that works with investors and doesn't just say they work with investors.
Well, of course, every realtor is an expert in every area of real estate. At least that's what they'll tell you. But it's not going to take you long to find out if they're really good at working with investors. A lot of agents, they'll tell you that they are until you start having them submit offers and they're like, oh, I don't want to submit that. I'm going to have to work with this other agent again. I don't want to offend them. And you're like, well, you're not the right realtor for me then. There are deals that you can get on the MLS. Of course, if a house is listed on the MLS, it's exposed to the largest number of people, and it's probably going to get the highest price that the market will bear. And so, like I was telling one of my students last week in our lesson, basically we were talking about working with realtors and that they had gone through several who had said that they wanted to work with investors and then come to find out they really didn't. Or maybe they just wanted to list the houses after they were already fixed up and pretty, which really isn't truly working with investors. It's just being a listing agent. And what we were talking about is this gets, our process of finding great deals gets so much easier when we're working with motivated sellers. So wherever they are, if they're on the MLS, it's not going to be that house that's been listed for 6 days.
Right.
They're not going to be motivated yet. They're going to wait. But if the listing is 180 days and it's about to expire and the agent's about to lose, that commission they've been working on for 6 months, then both the seller and the agent might be more willing to work with you on a lower offer that you can get. But what's really important is to approach an agent with specific criteria. It's so hard for me when people say, hey, can you tell me if there's a good deal? Give me a call. It's like, well, I can't just type in good deal in the search MLS and have 20 properties pop up and send you an email. It just doesn't work that way. So a good deal to one person, if they have, a whole bunch of cash that they're trying to employ and they want to buy funds with cash and hold them, and they just need, 5% return on their money and they're happy, is completely different than somebody that's trying to look for a property that they're going to get, and they're going to try to get it at 70% or 65% of the ARV minus repairs. So they're going to be making an offer about 45-50% of the after repair value. And so those are two completely different scenarios. And so a good deal to the first person is not going to be a good deal to the second person. So an agent needs to know exactly what you're looking for, what area you're looking for, square foot range, a price range, and and other criteria that makes the deal a good deal for you. Because I don't know what a good deal is for you, Karen. I mean,
Right.
I could guess. I could. I could send you a bunch of listings. And you say, "Well, I'm not investing in that area." Like, well, so it's not a good deal because it's 2 hours away from where you live, and so if you didn't tell me that, then I wouldn't know that wasn't a good deal for you, right?
You're right.
So I don't know. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. That's interesting because today I was looking through my email. I opened it and I have like 10 at the top that are like not in my area. They're like in other states that I would never consider buying in. They just don't fit my criteria. And I almost unsubscribed to the guy's email list, but then I went back to look to see why I was even on his list. And it's because he does occasionally get properties in Dallas Fort Worth. So I stayed, but I'm going to email him and ask if he can scale that down and get me only on the ones in Texas, because I do invest in East Texas and here in North Dallas, but I really don't want to. I don't want to unsubscribe. And that's where a lot of you wholesalers need to take note. Don't put people all over the country on your buyers list if you only have properties in Texas. Just be mindful of that, because that's one way you will get blocked or unsubscribed they'll unsubscribe from your list if you're sending them properties that don't really meet their criteria. So try to do just a little bit better and not just blanket blast out your deals to people that aren't going to be interested. So, all right. Good deal. Thank you so much, Tim. Let's see, Eric, what are your favorite ways to find deals?
Well, very similar to what has been mentioned before, one-on-one speaking with the potential seller, and the places that I find that work really well and are filled with people who are interested in the same things I am are the RAI meetings that many of the IMTs have at realimpacttraining.com, and look on the calendar to find one near you. But each of them always starts with a 30-minute session of networking. Sometimes they end with a 25 or 30-minute session of networking. And during those meetings, it usually at some point, the person leading the meeting will say, now's the time of the meeting where if you've got a deal or you're looking for a deal, speak up. And they'll describe their deal, they'll give their phone number, they'll Pete Fortunato talks about times when he has made an offer right then, right there, and picked up a house at the meeting. So I find that REI meetings, not just Real Impact, but other meetings as well. Although I highly recommend the Real Impact meetings.
Thank you for that.
So, I think that's my favorite place because it is one-on-one, like the others have mentioned, and that has the highest potential to connect and to be successful.
Absolutely. So I'll just piggyback on that and say that for mine, I have my attendees, the people that know me, they send me their deals, and then I send those out to my list. of
Yep.
people that come to my meetings that are looking for deals if they're in this area. So that makes a big difference. And then we have a Wednesday call every Wednesday at noon, and we talk about deals that we have that currently have. For example, we have someone in East Texas right now that has 3 lots on Lake Palestine. And I also have, no, we do not. That was the one that I told you about earlier that the price went up $100,000 overnight. So that was not a deal. But anyway, so we just, we talk, we network, and that's the way, at our meetings, and the people that come to us, if they get a deal that they can't take down, or they don't want to take down, or they're wanting to wholesale, then we're happy to pass those along, or we might buy them ourselves. So I always encourage all of my attendees to please email me your deals if you get one. Because we only meet once a month, and I know that a lot of people want to sell that deal within the month. So send them to us early, and we'll get it out to our list. Okay, thank you very much for that, Eric. Okay, Renee, you had an interesting recent deal. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So, tonight our focus is on who are our motivated sellers. And of course, it made me think of a situation we just recently had where we found a deal we're pretty excited about. And it was one of those where we were driving by, found an empty house. I took a chance that I could find their name and number, on the CAD and then find them on Google. And I called and I got the seller. And the truth is, they weren't even selling. It was just an empty house that had obviously been sitting there for quite some time. The yard was grown over, et cetera. And so after a couple of phone calls, we scheduled to come by and take a look at the property. And what we found out as we dialogued with the property owners is that these were the literal words that came out of the man's mouth. He said, "This has become a burden. It is a burden to us to have this house."
Oh.
And he qualified himself right then and there to be a motivated seller.
Right.
And I love that, because that's exactly who we're looking for, is people who have problems. And he has a problem. When you hold a property for 10 years and you're still paying electricity, lights, air conditioning, et cetera, just to keep the house in decent condition, it does become a burden. And so I guess my point in getting back to who are our motivated sellers, if we'll take time to not just drive by that empty house and go, "Oh, look, there's an empty house," but do some additional information, there's a good chance we'll find a motivated seller.
You're absolutely right. I've actually gotten out at an empty house like that. Like it jumped out at me, and I went and just wrote a little note, because we carry tape in our cars, in our car kits, and paper.
Yeah.
And I just wrote, "My name is Karen Maxwell, and I'm interested in buying this property. Please call me to discuss." And then put my phone number, and then taped it to the front of the door. I mean, you never know. I remember one time we left a note on a guy's door, and he called us just yelling at us. He was like, "That's my daughter's house, and she's gone, and I've been taking care of it, and how dare you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I just know that this house is vacant, is all I know." And I never did find out the story behind that whole thing, but that, to my knowledge, that property is still vacant, but he still goes over and maintains it every week. And, you never know what someone's reason is for selling a property or holding a property. Like, you just never know.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, if you have a question, please drop it in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube Live. And I'm going to read over these slides real quick. Or Roger, I'm sorry, I think I skipped you. Roger, how do you typically find deals?
All right. So typically, for the most part, I've been in the business for a while, so I get them by word of mouth, and I also get them. Most of my deals are because I go to REI groups. I go to REI meetings. I talk to other investors. I find out what things are happening out there. I get properties from people that don't want the properties. Either they're finding those properties that don't work in their criteria, or they find that they don't want to be a landlord and they're trying to get rid of some properties. But I don't advertise. I don't have a fancy website. I don't drive a fancy car. I don't have signs all over the place. I don't do skywriting in the sky with airplanes. But what I do is I talk to a lot of people. If I were to go in the back of the room and just hide out in the corner and never talk to anybody, I wouldn't get any deals. But the majority of the deals I get from other people that have a problem deal. They can't do something with it, or they don't want to work there. They don't want to be in that part of town. They're getting out of the business, whatever it takes. Go to your REI meetings. We have about a dozen of those meetings in Impact every month, depending on where you're at. But that's where I get my deals, word of mouth.
Absolutely. You get a lot of repeat subject to deals because of word of mouth, right, Roger?
Absolutely. But the people that I work with, I go, hey, that deal you did with me? Can you do that with my friend?
Right.
Can you talk to my friend?
Yep.
And I never, ever depend on somebody giving my number out.
Right.
That doesn't work. Lots of miracles have to happen if you're giving your phone number out. So what I do is I say, hey, let me have their number and I'll give them a call. And in most cases, they already have a heads up because their friend had already told them about me. And I'll bring the friend into the conversation. I'll say, hey, Bob told me to give you a call. I worked with him on his house. He said, you're looking to get rid of one of your properties or to sell one of your properties. So let's talk about it. And I start building that relationship. And then it's very important for me to go to that person's house and meet them at their house if I can. Of course, if they're out of state, out of the area, I can't do that. But if they're living there, or if they have that house as a rent house, even if we can't get inside, if it's a rent house, we can't get inside, we're going to meet kind of in the front yard, or we're going to drive by, take a look at it, talk for a couple minutes in the car. And then we might drive to the local, Starbucks or whatever, and just sit down and talk about it. But I want to see them. I want to see them at the house. Of course, before I buy the house, I want to get in the house, but I'm building that relationship and make sure that I have a connection there. I'll build something into that conversation that connects us, that we have like interest in something. I'm not going to make something up. I'm not a sports fan. I'm not going to sit there and talk about, a player, because I'll goof it up and I'll talk about, well, what do you think Tony Romo's doing now? Or something like that. I'll just mess that up. And how was Tony Romo last week? But I'm gonna build that into something that I have a connection with and build that relationship.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with all that. So if it's okay with you guys, we're gonna go over these slides real quick. Okay, so who has great deals and where are motivated sellers? We've already discussed realtors. Tim was saying that, just make sure that you find the right realtor. I had an experience this past week where someone brought me a deal and I said, well, can you send me your comps? Because it wasn't in my area where I have MLS access. And I analyzed the comps and I was like, I think there were about 6 comps, and only one of those, well, there were 2 that had been remodeled, and one of them didn't make sense. So I excluded it completely. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out why it sold for so high. And all the rest of them needed remodeling. They were in the same condition that this property was currently in. So in my mind, I said, this realtor doesn't really know what they're doing. They just did the typical comps of all sold properties in the last, I think it was 6 months or something. It was the last 6 months, and they were 10 years old and a mile and a half away. And so I just replied back and I said, hey, you really need to have them rerun the comps. Like, you've got to be able to dial in and like be more specific on properties that are already rehabbed. How much is this property going to be worth if I rehab it? Because it needed a full rehab. It didn't have a tenant in it already. They weren't buying it with a tenant already in place. So that was something that struck me on that. And then someone else a couple weeks ago had a realtor run her comps, and he gave her the ARV And I said, well, can we look at the comps? And she said, well, he said he couldn't find any comps. And actually, he only knew about a house that was sold down the street, and he doesn't have MLS access in that area. So I was like, oh my. And it ended up that the realtor had made $100,000 error. And that can be deadly, deadly. So, one of the things that Dennis teaches us is what? To only trust your own numbers. Trust but verify. Like, we're responsible for running our own numbers. So I'm sorry, CJ, can you go back one more slide? There you go. Does anyone have any tips on dealing with banks and foreclosures? Because I know that I've run across one before that was listed by a local bank, and we contacted them and said, look, like, if you ever have one of these that you don't want to go to foreclosure, give us a call. We might be able to just buy it outright, and you don't even have to go into, you don't have to take it that far. Especially when people get into rehab and they take out a loan and they can't finish the rehab because they're inexperienced and they don't know what they're doing, or they write a check to the contractor and he runs off with the money.
Right. So Karen, I'll jump in there. I've picked up some properties. One was through a credit union. It's actually American Airlines Credit Union. I don't belong to that credit union, but we built a relationship with the person that was in charge of disposing their REO properties, which is bank-owned, real estate-owned properties. Right. And we were able to get a couple of really sweet deals back in the day. They're coming back on the market now. I mean, we kind of been missing that aspect for a few years because of the market, but we're starting to see them coming back. And so we have built that relationship with those banks. Another place that I've been able to pick up some properties over the years is from hard money lenders. What you were just saying is somebody started the rehab and they ran out of money. Normally the rehab is just a mess, but materials are all there. And that small little half bathroom is just really done nice because they put all their effort in doing the smallest room in the house and they ran out of money. Yeah. So, but yeah, those are some sources that you want to look at. Is look at private money lenders, look at people that are out there trying to buy these properties, they're financing these properties, and the person they financed just couldn't get it done.
That's interesting that you said that. I remember one time we had one that I found actually on Facebook. Someone posted it for sale by owner on Facebook, and we went and looked at it. We put it under contract. We sold it to another investor. And about, 6 months or so later, he called us and said, hey, will you buy this property back from me? I have come into a large inheritance. I'm traveling. I don't want to mess with this anymore. And the rehab still isn't finished, but everything's there. And we went in and we took up all the flooring. I remember that. We took up all the flooring because it was laid the wrong direction, and we changed it to the other direction and just finished it. And he did a seller finance with us, and we ended up owner financing it to an end buyer. We paid him off with their down payment because it was not. It was what was so crazy was that the Google image was from before we had ever even bought it. It was so old. I don't even remember how old it was, but the image was so old that if anybody Googled it, they would come up with this ugly, ugly, ugly house. But he was absolutely gorgeous. So that's that's one of those things where, and then we actually ended up selling that note 6 months later at full price. So it's like we made money off of it 3 times. It was crazy. It was a good deal. But another person that wanted to get into investing and rehabbing, just when it came down to it, he didn't have what it took. He admitted that. He said, this is not what I want to do. Like, this is just a pain in my butt. I just don't want to do it anymore. Will you buy it back? And he didn't even want to profit off of it. He wanted what he'd paid for it. And I don't even think we had to pay him for the materials. He was just done and was willing to walk away. And we did a seller finance with him, and it was great. Turned out great all around for everybody. What about bird dogs? Anybody have any success with bird dogs?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, is that if you tell everybody what you're doing, those people can become bird dogs. I will go to church and I'll tell people that they'll ask me, because I'm going to ask them first. So my method is I ask them questions and I have them talk to me. So I ask them about their family, their occupation, recreation, and then I go into the message. I say, what do you do for a living? If you ask somebody that, they're going to ask you what you do for a living, almost automatically. And I tell them I'm a real estate investor. Well, they didn't hear that. They didn't hear that the way that you heard that. I said real estate investor. They heard real estate agent. And whenever they know me, they see me up there playing guitar. Oh, that guy's a real estate agent. I need to tell him about my house. So I get those. I do. I get those calls, and sometimes they turn into deals. So, bird dogs can be anybody, just absolutely anybody. My brother works for Southwestern Bell. He climbs telephone poles and he installs telephone service and Wi-Fi service and stuff like that. And he's standing on a telephone pole and he looks down and he sees this house that's empty, or he sees a sign for sale by owner. But that's another one of my bird dogs. So I always get, once a month, I'll get something from him.
That's awesome. Eric, do you want to talk about eviction court?
Absolutely. Another great place to find motivated sellers is eviction court. And that depends on your area, where you are, how often they meet. In my area, they meet Tuesday and Thursday. Excuse me. And it's a great environment to look for landlords who are done with tenants and toilets. If the eviction court starts at 9, the idea is to get there 8:30, 8:45, and look for the folks. There's 3 kinds of people there. One is the person who's in the suit and tie, power dress, with a big thick file filled with many papers, and that's the person who's dealing with multiple tenants, usually for an apartment complex. And you're also looking for people. You will see people who have no papers with them, and that's usually the tenant that's being evicted. What you're looking for is the one person with one piece of paper, one manila folder, and you approach them and with your business card that says "Tired of tenants and toilet? Call me. I can help." And ask, "Are you here to evict someone? Are you a landlord?" If they say yes, you just hand them your card. I'm a real estate investor who helps other investors with problem properties. Give me a call if you're done with tenants and toilets. And I've done that a couple of weeks now, and I've had several conversations. Many people are very motivated to be done with their properties, and you can find them at eviction courts.
I went to eviction court myself, and I found it fascinating. And I felt more power as a landlord to be able to go in and represent myself for my own properties, because a lot of landlords are afraid to take their tenants to eviction court. They would rather just have a back and forth on the phone and never get paid than to go file for eviction, because then they have to go to court. And the one thing that I learned at court was whatever's in the contract, that's what we're going by. It doesn't matter what they think or what they think should have happened, or if it's not in the contract, it doesn't stand. They have to go file, civil case or whatever it is. But if they're violating your contract, then you have the right to evict them. And they do not have the right to withhold payment for all these other reasons. But anyway, that was one of the things that it gave me confidence, just going and seeing that this eviction court was not something to be afraid of. it was something to learn from and I also actually had somebody show up at eviction court for somebody else while I was watching that was applying for one of my properties. And I was like, oh, note to self, do not, we were working on her application, but that was really interesting. I did not introduce myself. So it was not a problem. Awesome. Okay. Let me look through here. Bird dogs. We talked about landlords and investors. We've actually bought properties from other investors that for whatever reason they were looking to sell their property, and that property that we were buying. There's a multitude of reasons. Some people get the need for immediate cash. Maybe they need to pay the tax bill for their other properties and they want to sell this one. So like we've said multiple times, networking with other people, letting them know what we do. I don't even know how many times people have called me and said, hey, you're a real estate agent. Can you do blah, blah, blah? And I say, I'm not an agent. I'm an investor. Oh, what's the difference? So there you go. Not everybody knows the difference between a real estate investor and a real estate agent. But I'm definitely not an agent. I'm simply an investor. Okay. Deals from landlords, property managers. Absolutely. Roger, have you ever dealt with a property manager?
I have. I haven't been overly successful. I mean, as much as I would hope to be, but I have been successful. When I work with a property manager and they have a client that wants to sell, usually the seller is going to pay them a seller's commission or a commission to sell that property. But I will always go to that property manager and offer for them to keep property management in there for at least 24 months. I want to give them the incentive to do something with me. And it's worked out fairly well. And I think that's going to be a really good market in the next coming months because we've got a lot of out of area investors that are investing in rental properties. And I think as the market kind of it's been changing, as it continues to change, I think we're going to find more and more of those out of state investors just wanting to get out of the rental market. But that's worked for me. Always give them the property manager, give them a reason to work with you. If they're not going to get anything out of the deal, they're not going to work with you. So offer them to manage that property for a couple of years.
That's true. And, it's by them. If you buy the property and you don't choose to let them continue managing it, there's no incentive for them because they're losing that property.
Absolutely.
Sometimes even the property manager will say to themselves, this property is such a headache. Like we really want to get rid of it because that owner is not keeping up with the maintenance or, is too lax on their structure, their criteria. Or maybe it was properties that were already rented out previous to that property manager taking over. So anyway, that's I've dealt with some property managers in the past, and did never buy any properties with that one, but I probably wouldn't either. We could literally walk into a property and say, "Oh, I bet such and such manages this property," because we could identify it. That's how bad it was. So yeah. What about wholesalers? Do any of y'all buy properties from wholesalers?
I do. I've got a couple of wholesalers I work with out there. I normally am not the first guy that they come to. I'm kind of the rescue guy for them. They get it under contract. Somebody has it. They can't get it financed or whatever. I've bought several properties from wholesalers and before they lose their contract, and normally get it at a better price than what they were marketing it at. And they're very happy, but I come in there, I pay cash. It could be my cash. It could be another investor's, one of my money people's cash, but they get cash. They know it's going to close. It's normally a short close. The title work has already been done. And like I said, once again, their other investor that were buying it was going to buy it, could not come up with the money. And he had to forfeit the contract. So I have a couple of wholesalers I work with, and that happens a lot. That happens quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I've actually I have been a wholesaler, and I do still kind of wholesale occasionally if it just doesn't fit my criteria, but it's still a good deal. But one of the things that I do for other wholesalers is if I see a deal come across and it's an area that I'm very familiar with, I will absolutely correct them. If I see that they have way overpriced something or their numbers are way off, I'll say, hey, by the way, I don't know you from Adam, but I just saw this deal come across and I feel like you've really overpaid for it because properties in that area are only going for, X amount per square foot. You might want to renegotiate that. And if I see a deal if someone sends it to me through Facebook, with, on social media, a lot of people will send me deals or tag me in deals online, and I'll go in and have a private conversation with them. Just say, hey, you have overpaid for this property. If you can, please go back to the seller and ask if you can renegotiate because you've obviously have overpaid for it, or you have you've underestimated your rehab, or you've overinflated your ARV, and this is not a year ago. This is not even 6 months ago. What we're seeing right now, but I see that happen a lot, and wholesalers also will forget that if they're going to buy at 70% minus repairs, they forget their fee. So they'll put it in the contract at 70% minus repairs and then try to sell it for 90%. And unless your local market supports 90%, which I don't know of many markets that do, especially right now, you're going to get stuck with that property. So you've got to have some really, really, really good renegotiation skills, or you need to really negotiate it better in the beginning and try to get it for as little as possible. All right. I think we got that. We did wholesalers, we did social media, we did local meetings. Okay, CJ, next slide, please. Oh, that's us. Where our slides go. There we go. We talked about property managers, wholesalers, social media. Oh yeah, you can pull a list, right? I pulled a list and had it skip traced. I pull a niche list. Does anybody want to divulge their niche list? I like properties that are more than one unit that have been owned for longer than 15 years. So if you have one, give me a call.
Well, Karen, my niche that I go after when I'm looking for this, looking for properties is I love going after people that are accidental landlords. Yes. And what I mean by that is maybe they got married later in life, and both the husband and wife, the newlyweds, as that would be, own houses, and they decide they're going to rent one out, and it's just an absolute disaster because I don't know how to be a property manager. And so I go after them and I talk to them, usually able to pick up those properties at a very reasonable rate. A lot of them are subject twos because they're just like, I'm done. We're done. We're not ever going to be a landlord again. So those are the accidental investors. I don't really look for the people that own 50 houses. Those come across, but I am looking for the ones that are the accidental landlords.
My other favorite going along with that is the ones that rent their properties to family members. Not a good idea. Let me just say that right now. I'm going to say that on on this whole thing right here on YouTube Live. Don't rent to family. Don't rent to family. Don't rent to friends. I'm telling you, you'll have the biggest headache. Just call me. I'll buy it. Maybe.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of my biggest disasters have been from friends, family members, someone that we thought was a shoo-in. We'll just do this favor and we'll reap the great rewards of helping somebody out. Oh my gosh, no. I've not used virtual assistants. Well, I guess using virtual assistants to call your list. Is that what that's, and having them watching for deals for you, kind of like bird dogs, but online. Our training definitely covers that. Roger, have you done a training lately with one of the students on the 66 ways to find deals?
It's been a few weeks since I've done the 66 ways. I've got that coming up with one of my students, but there's actually more than 66, but the way the Dennis Henson training goes, then Dennis is like, that just really works well on a number. But there's more than 66 ways to find great deals. Do we do them all? No, but we need to know about them all. So when that falls into our lap, we number one recognize, oh, that could be a deal. This could be a way to get that deal, and then we just kind of put it together and make that happen. But yeah, that is one of my favorite trainings, one of my favorite lessons that we have in our program, and it really wakes me up every time I go through that lesson. It wakes me up on, oh yeah, I need to be looking more towards this. I need to be marketing more towards this, because the market, our market's changing every single day. It is like massively changing in the last 4 or 5 months, 6 months, and it's going to continue to go that way. Just out in Wichita Falls yesterday with Tim and Gabi, and listening to what people were saying in that room, and what their concerns are and their questions are, and how they're doing things. It's really an exciting time to be in this business and seeing things happen.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. CJ, do we want to switch on to the next slide? There you go. Roger, you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in anything that we do, we'd be glad to talk to you. Just put in there. There's a QR code there. You can go to realimpacttraining.com and click on the contact us button. But we'd be glad to help you answer those questions. It's not a sales call. It's not a call to talk you into anything. We're not even going to talk about for the most part, we're not going to talk about what we offer. We're going to talk about what your concerns are, what your business is, and how you're going about your business, and seeing if there's a fit there. If we have a fit that can kind of help expand your business, we're going to offer that. And in our trainings, we do a lot of trainings, and we're very successful in that, and we are very good at that. About 70% of our students over the years have been seasoned investors. So it's good. We have where they're buying a few properties, but they want to expand on that. They want to get more properties than what they had. I got a testimonial today from one of Tim's students that was just absolutely blew me away, where they brought in over $100,000 within 90 days of their completion of their lessons, and they're seasoned investors. But they just needed that new way of doing this business, or better way of doing this business, and getting them focused and getting them organized and getting them a business plan put together. And they've done phenomenal. And they're, we were talking about it yesterday at Tim's meeting, and they're able to play harder. So he now has built a building that he's putting his collector cars in. He has 12 collector cars now. So he's adding to that, and he's obviously he's a car guy. So that's what we do this business for, and that's how we change the dynamic. So we'd love to talk to you. So click on that, and we're gonna connect you with the best person in your area, the closest person, closest group to where you're from, and just talk to us and talk to us about your business and what your goals are. And there may be something we can help you with. There may not be anything we can help you with, but give us a call. Just let us know. Also, you want to make sure that you are at our meetings as we go forward. You are at our meetings. So there you go. QR code or realimpacttraining.com. Contact us.
Awesome. All right, CJ, next slide, please. All right. I guess I'll talk about a little bit about this. We have a very special guest coming to see us in December. He's actually going to be offering 2 full-day advanced trainings. This guy is super smart when it comes to buying properties, using the strategy, buying the property subject to the existing financing, and you're not going to be using your own credit or your own money down. So this is an absolute phenomenal strategy for doing that. Our special guest is actually our very own Roger Pascal. He and he's also going to be traveling around to all the different groups in November and December before these meetings. But we're going to be teaching y'all how to find sellers, how to find sellers that might want to sell their property subject to. So the number one rule is what, Roger? They have to have an actual mortgage. If you're going to buy it subject to the existing financing, there has to already be financing in place. So you've already learned step one. But you're going to learn how to evaluate the property, how to learn what documents you need, how to learn about wraps and taxes and insurance, the due on sale clause, and all the things that you need to know to make a successful subject to transaction. And Roger, you're going to be with us on December the 10th in Hurst, Texas, December the 17th in Addison, Texas, and the price is $349 for one person, and you can bring one friend for $149. And that's going to get you, 8 to 5. You're going to get lunch. What else are we going to get from you?
You're going to get sponsors. We have some sponsors coming in here. You're going to build your team. So you're going to be able to work with the RMLOs and the servicing companies and the title companies and the various different contractors that we have in place and how to make this stuff happen. So we're going to have lots of items for you to work with. So we have a subject to manual that you will go through. It is, about 75 pages, somewhere in there. There we go. You're going to get a copy of my book, Subject to, with that. And by the way, it's our forward on there by Pace Morby. So, and then you're going to get a thumb drive. You're going to get a great thumb drive in here that's going to have over 50 documents and worksheets. And bless you. So 50 documents and worksheets in there. So you're going to walk away with a great program here. And then we're going to follow that up with a few weeks of Zoom calls live, where you're going to be on live on a Zoom call to ask your questions, to stay motivated, build those relationships with other people. So with that, CJ, why don't you go forward and put on the testimonial that we have here and listen to that, and then we'll come back and talk more about the subject too. Tommy, why don't you go on?
All right. Thank you. Can everybody hear me? All right. So I knew nothing about real estate in November of 2017. And I took a class, learned a little bit of the basics. Didn't know how to acquire a property. Like most of y'all, I thought, gosh, I have a little bit of money, but this is kind of tough. Where do I even begin, right? So I discovered Roger in 2018 and took his subject to class. I think it was in Fort Worth. And it was pretty cool, right? I mean, everything you're learning, you guys are just at the beginning of the class today. But halfway through the day, I started realizing, wow, there's really, really something to this. So I went out and I aggressively found the attorney, found the CPA, did my marketing. And that's actually when Facebook was actually working for marketing. And so my first year, starting summer of 2018 until summer of 2019, we acquired 26 properties with subject to in 1 year.
Wonderful.
Wow, that is just, Tommy, this was in Forest Hill last year. I did not even realize, I did not even know that he had done that well, that phenomenal business that he did. The first break we had that morning, he sits down with me and he says, "Let me tell you my story." And that's when we asked him to come up front and talk about the story about that time. So that is what we do in this class. We literally teach you everything regarding a subject to, going from the beginning to the end, all your marketing. People don't know that subject to exists. They don't know they can get out of that property. So we have that in place. Now, CJ, can you throw the next slide on? There we go. So that's kind of what we have here now. This week, if you're in the areas, we'll be talking about this, just a basic information. There's no way I can cover this in an hour. This is literally an all-day event. So tomorrow night, we're going to be in Longview, Texas, and we're going to be at the Big Red Barn. You can go to meetup.com, or you can go to our locations on our website. So realimpacttraining.com. and go to our locations. Or on the bottom of the YouTube video is a list of all of our different locations. But we're going to be in Longview tomorrow night at 6:30 talking about subject twos. We're going to be at the Alliance Decatur event Tuesday night with Pam, and that's up there by Texas Motor Speedway, up there by Bucky's, kind of behind Bucky's at the Big Golf Center. Big shots. There you go.
Golf. Yeah.
That's right. And then Wednesday, we're going to be in Waco, Texas. So if you're in the Waco area, you want to come meet us down there. We're at the Holiday Inn at the south side of Waco, down there where all that new construction is, all that new stuff, all those new restaurants and stuff. And then Thursday night, we're going to be over in Arlington, Texas, at the Texas Golf Center, I believe it's called. But once again, you can go on our website and you can pull all these locations and what times they are. They're pretty much at 6 to 6:30 to 7 o'clock, somewhere in there. Each location may have a little bit of different start time on that, but you want to be at this class because I'm telling you that subject to, we are seeing so much activity on that right now. This is just, 2008 subprime days cannot even hold a candle to what we're seeing today. There are literally over 3.5 million mortgages not getting paid. Now, we don't go after the mortgages not getting paid. We're going after the mortgages that are fixing to not being paid. And there are millions and millions and millions of those properties throughout the United States right now in your backyard, probably somebody that lives across the street from you. So you want to know how to identify that and how to market for that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Ruben, I want to make sure your question got answered. I'm not sure where you're at if you're on one of the Facebook groups or YouTube, but in the Mesquite area, your closest location is going to be to come to mine in Plano, which we actually meet in Addison, Texas, and it's going to be on December the 3rd from 9:30 to noon. Or the Grand Prairie location, which yours is November what day is it, Eric?
It's Tuesday. I've already had mine in November. I'll have one in December.
Oh, so you won't have another one there, but okay. So you're, if you want to come to the free local meeting, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours long, Roger will be there in November and December. Give me a call at 903-445-6023 if you need to know where your closest location is, or go to realimpacttraining.com to get a list of all of our meetings, but realimpactevents.com to find out about the special event with Roger Pascal and when we're going to be everywhere, because we're everywhere.
Very good. So we're excited about it. You need to go in. When you sign up, you're going to pay. So just because you click, you're going to be there on Facebook, or you click, you're going to be there on
Meetup.
On Meetup, it may not work out for you. We're going to sell out.
If you RSVP and you don't pay, you don't complete the process, then you're not going to have a ticket. And we have a limited number of tickets at each location, right, Roger?
That's correct. So every one of these I've done in the last few years, we've sold out. We've literally had to turn people away at the door. So don't wait till you get there. If we have room for you, we're going to put you in there. But if we don't be surprised, because we're limited. I mean, every place that we can give these out, we have the zoning there, or the not the zoning, but the cities come in and
occupancy.
Occupancy. Thank you. So we just need to be careful of that. So don't procrastinate. You want to do this. You want to learn this information. We get phenomenal results out of this. We're in it to make sure that you're going to succeed in this business. So we will see you this week. And Eric's is the second Tuesday of the month.
December 15th.
December the 15th. There you go. So we're excited about it. Let's make it happen.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.
All right. Good deal.
Good
Thanks,
night.
guys. Good night.
Running your own real estate investment business can be stressful, time-consuming, and difficult to manage. Where do you start? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we have the answer? With our exclusive training program, we will teach you how to free up your time to build your business, develop your goals, learning where to find the money, how to find better deals, keeping track of offers, building a team, and developing a business plan that works for you. We at Real Impact Real Estate Training and Mentoring have all the answers for you. We have several plans to help you get your business to the next level. We have developed the best one-on-one personal training system in the industry. We have a proven structure that has been developed for more than 50 years through the purchase and sales of thousands of homes and commercial properties. We will help you set up and build your real estate investment business. Whether you are new to investing or you are a seasoned professional, we have a plan for you to customize your business to a method that works, is affordable, and fits your budget. With training modules like finding money, finding deals, learning how to get correct comps, building a team, short sales, subject twos, foreclosures, making multiple offers, understanding auctions, REOs, and tax sales, working to build your construction team, and finding sellers and buyers. Find your property management team, plus over 70 additional training modules to choose from. Sit down with us for a one-on-one consulting to see what training plan is best to develop your goals and to build your business by using the 5 M's of investing: mining, money, maintenance, marketing, and management. Wouldn't your life be great if you can live it on your own terms? We help you develop and structure your business to take massive action. Join the Real Impact Real Estate Training today. Change your life today with real estate investing.